Hi, and welcome, everybody. I'm Ross Benjamin. It's another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast with myself and my cohort, Chip Chirimbes, out of Las Vegas, Nevada, handicapper extraordinaire. Chipper, you've been on quite the run, 2-0 yesterday again. How you doing, first of all? And tell the folks what's been going on lately with Mr. Chip Chirimbes, other than having a little bit of a bellyache.
Well, it was nice to sweep the board Sunday in the NFL after having stubbed my toe the previous week. And that always feels good going into the Super Bowl. You know that. And the basketball in the NBA has been very, very consistent. I just posted one game in each of the last 3 days, and it won each day. And the same thing has happened in the NBA. I mean, in college basketball, where I posted one game a day the last 3 days, and each of them have won. Ross, when I first started in this business, my name for the company was A Play. And it was a play on words because I was a teacher, and we would use the A as the highest rated. And so that's how it ended up coming about. And I would just also, because it was a single unit play that I used to put out every day. And I'm not looking to necessarily get back to that, but it reminds me of the old times when I first started in the business, posting one game a day.
Well, you're an A-type handicapper, I could tell you that. So,
Thank you for that.
like I said, I'm going to start calling your website ChipAlwaysWins.com because he's been on. So, you're on a big tear right now, aren't you?
If I'm yeah, I'm. It's one of these like 38 and 12 runs in the NBA, and even in college basketball, it's really been profitable for us. I think on Saturday I struggled a little bit. I went 2-3 or 3-3 with the games. And that hurts. You want that Saturday winner. Yes. You really need that Saturday. And I had Duke on top, and they faltered at the end. And then, when you lose a team like that, it's tough for you to come back with them next time out.
Yeah.
And of course, they annihilated Pittsburgh last time out. But, I had my winner that night anyway. But that's all part of this business. Sports handicapping is not an exact science, Ross, and we have to play it day by day.
Yeah, they actually won by 7 last night against Pitt as a 6.5 point favorite. So annihilate might not be the right word, but they definitely covered, in any event, not to be nitpick on words.
I'm not very good verbally.
And just as long as you pick the games, okay, partner.
Yeah, I hopefully I can keep that up.
I mentioned to you off air yesterday, I just checked the standings online over the last 30 days. Chip Chirimbes is number 3 in the country in college basketball, and yours truly is number 5. So as well as I'm doing, my numbers have been pale in comparison to my partner. 26-16 with my last 42 in college basketball, folks. Good for 62%. That's good by any stretch of the imagination. Also, college basketball and the NBA on a 59% run over my last 72. So not too bad. You could find me at rbwins.com. There you'll find all my best picks on a daily basis. And again, you could find Chipper at chipwins.com. Chip, huge NBA card. We're going to give the folks each a free pick in the NBA today. Let's start with you.
Well, my free pick is a game where we have the leading scoring team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks, on the road as a favorite. But, being the leading scorer in the NBA doesn't necessarily equate to winning point spreads or even winning games outright. There's a better balance out there, and Milwaukee Bucks just don't have it. They're at Toronto. Ha ha. They're playing against Toronto in their home stadium, which is somewhere in Tampa. And so they've won 4 of the last 5 as hosts. I don't know how we can call them a home team, Ross. Yeah. I don't know how we could say that at all. But, this Toronto team still has a nucleus and a basis of a pretty strong team. Last year, of course, this season was blown out and taken away from us. But, I think my feeling here is honestly that these Milwaukee Bucks still lack something, that there's just something missing with them. And, maybe that would count more toward and during the playoffs than say right now. But it's still there in my mind. I think Toronto's a little bit better than the odds maker are giving them credit for. I mean, this poor team hasn't played a home game now. And how long has it been, Ross? At least a year. I mean, so they're on a constant road trip, and I don't know. I just think that they're in an advantage here. I think that Milwaukee is just sleepwalking, cruising through the season till they get to the playoffs. This is a team where every year they sit there with the best record and the best home record, and they come in with all these accolades. And the same thing happens every time. It's like Lamar Jackson. You're not going to throw the ball under pressure, and this team doesn't make their shots under pressure in the playoffs. So it's what I've seen so far, and it can change, Ross. That's why
Yeah.
we call it gambling.
Yeah, the NBA is a long season, and as we well know, sometimes it's unpredictable because of the length of their schedule and players sitting out for rest and all that kind of thing. You really got to be on top of things. As we speak right now, Toronto is a 7-point home underdog. Again, home being, we're using that word loosely here,
Right.
7-point underdog against Milwaukee. So Chipper likes Toronto +7. I will give the listeners a little bit of advice. If you start looking at home and away splits dating back to last year in the NBA, be careful, because every source I see out there is using these games that were played in the bubble last year and counting them as home and away games. And I don't know how
Really?
you could do that, Chipper. You
Are
know,
they
because,
really?
yeah, you go to covers, you go to Fox Sheets, you go to Killer Sports, and all of those sites that
And,
do a terrific job putting together data for the readers. They count those home
and
and
you know
away
what?
games in the bubble, and to
And you know
me,
what, Ross?
it's a neutral site game.
And you
What
know
am
what?
I missing?
They specify neutral sites in college games all the
Yes.
time, and they have a separate record and category for the
That's
neutral site.
correct. That's correct. But for whatever reason, because of the rarity of what just occurred for COVID-19, they either don't feel like they should make the adjustment, or it's something that's going to cost them a lot of money, which I can
Yeah.
understand in their database. Because now you're getting into computer programming, and how do you decipher? Again, it's just something the listeners and viewers should really keep an eye on going forward.
And Ross, I do like trends. I do use them as fodder in my articles, but this changes everything to me,
Yeah.
because now what are we going to say that after a year from now, when those stats are still compiled, they're all skewed.
Yes.
There is no credibility, shall I say, which gets us into trouble. But I just don't understand why they don't. Like you said, it probably costs them a lot of money to
Oh,
reprogram,
yeah,
put
exactly.
put the little neutral site in,
And
which is
and you don't foresee this happening again in the
right.
future, so why spend the money? At the end of the day, you have to do your homework a little more, like I do.
Me
Not to
too.
put a star on my forehead, but it is my job. And here's a perfect example that I'm going to use for a free pick tonight, Chip. The LA Lakers are at the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, as we speak, the Philadelphia 76ers are a 3.5-point home underdog. Now, going back to last year, Philadelphia in true home games last year, excuse me, not games in the bubble where they were designated the home team, but on their home floor, they went 29-3 straight up at home.
Yep.
Okay. Now, starting this year, they're 9-1 straight up at home. So that makes them 38-4 since the start of last season at home straight up. And they find themselves as an underdog here against a real good Lakers team. Okay. Obviously, defending world champions. This is a Lakers team that's gone 10-0 straight up on the road this year.
Yep.
However, you give me a team with a strong home court with a winning record like Philadelphia as an underdog, I will take them every time and any time over whatever the other team's road record is. Okay. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia here tonight as a 3.5-point underdog at home against the LA Lakers. So once again, Chipper likes Toronto plus the 7 against Milwaukee, and I'm on the Philadelphia 76ers plus 3.5 over the LA Lakers. Those are our two NBA free picks for Wednesday, January 27th. Chipper, before we leave, what do you got on tap for today?
Well, we have a triple play in NCAA action, which is highlighted by my best bet between Mississippi and Arkansas. And my megabuck play in the NBA is between the Cavaliers and the Pistons. And that is also part of a triple play of NBA winners. I try to come up with either 1 or 3 games a day, so that we're going to have a decision. I don't want to go 1-1. I want to win, or that's the way it's going to be. So I have 3 games in both sports right now, and we're sitting there. Of course, we're looking forward to this weekend. Well, there is no football this weekend, is there?
Oh, you got to, boy, oh boy, that thought really, it always at this time of year, you start to get a little bit, how you could put it.
There's a void. There's a
Yes,
void for us right
it's
now.
like something just got removed out of your life for us,
Yeah.
and we just adjust. That's all. Sometimes we need a break too. We got a little time here before the NCAA tournament, and then after that ends, is the NBA playoffs come around, and then then we go into baseball, and a couple months of a breather before football season starts.
Yeah, there isn't as much pressure or during the baseball season. And the way the baseball season plays itself out, you get to look at pitchers ahead of time.
Yes.
Whereas we're doing this on a day. I'm going to bed at night, and I have to get up early to see what happened the night before I can do anything the next day. And
Yeah.
basketball is it's a trek.
It's a grind. It's a
Yeah.
grind, especially when you get a schedule like today in the NBA, which is a full one. I think there's 13 games. And in college basketball, usually on a Wednesday is pretty full like it is today. So in any event, I have 3 college basketball picks up in the same package tonight. And again, folks, college basketball 26-16, 62% over my last 42. You can find those picks at rbwins.com. I also will have an NBA 3-game package on Wednesday. Again, it's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot, and you can find Chip at chipwins.com. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbes, I'm Ross Benjamin. Good luck and God bless.